1 year after humanity left the Galactic Council, Ambassador Jake Sullivan sat in his new office on Luna Station and read the messages that arrived every day. They came from all over the galaxy, desperate pleas for help, offers of alliance, and threats from species that still believed they could force humans to obey them. The galaxy had changed completely in 12 months. Jake picked up the latest message from what was left of the Vorthan Republic. President Kelsara had survived the Krill invasion, but barely. Her people were scattered across dozens of refugee camps, and her government existed only on paper. Ambassador Sullivan, the message began, I write to you with great hope and great humility. The Vorthan people have learned hard lessons this past year. We understand now that the old council system was wrong. We treated humans unfairly, and we have paid a terrible price for that mistake. Jake had heard similar messages from many species. The galaxy was full of former council members who suddenly wanted to be friends with humanity. The message continued. We ask not for charity, but for the chance to join something better. We have heard rumors of a new alliance being formed, an alliance where all species are truly equal. If such a thing exists, the Vorthan Republic wishes to be considered for membership. Jake made a note to forward the message to President Clark. The Vorthan had been one of the few species in the Council that had sometimes supported human positions. They deserved consideration, but not everyone would be welcome in the new order. Captain Lisa Martinez, now Admiral Martinez, stood on the bridge of her flagship and watched the Zephyrian fleet approach. 6 months ago, the proud Zephyrian Empire had controlled dozens of star systems. Now they were refugees begging for sanctuary. Admiral, the Zephyrian commander is requesting permission to enter human space, her communications officer reported. What is left of their government? Lisa asked. 17 ships and about 50,000 survivors. They claim to represent the legitimate Zephyrian authority. Lisa almost laughed. The same Zephyrians who had called humans a junior species were now reduced to less than one human city's population. Put me through to their commander. The screen showed a Zephyrian officer who looked tired and defeated. His blue skin was pale, and his forearms moved nervously. This is Admiral Martinez of the Human Commonwealth Fleet, Lisa said. State your business. Admiral, I am Commander Zekhal of the Zephyrian Defense Force. We request permission to enter human territory. We need fuel, food, and medical supplies. Commander, I remember you. You were at the council meeting where your chancellor demanded human slaves as payment for our colony ships. Zekhal looked uncomfortable. Admiral, that was a different time. We have learned from our mistakes. Have you? What exactly have you learned? We learned that humans are not weak. We learned that we needed you more than you needed us. We learned that the council system was wrong. Lisa studied the alien officer's face. He seemed sincere, but the Zephyrians had been enemies of humanity for decades. Commander, here are my terms. Your civilian ships can enter human space and receive humanitarian aid. Your military vessels will be disarmed and escorted to designated areas. Any Zephyrian who wants to stay in human territory must apply for refugee status and submit to background checks. And if we refuse, then you can continue on your current course and hope you find someone else willing to help you. Zekhal was quiet for a moment. We accept your terms, Admiral. As the Zephyrian ships were processed by human border guards, Lisa felt a strange mix of emotions. She was glad to help innocent civilians, but she also felt satisfied that the proud Zephyrians had been humbled. On Earth, President Ryan Clark stood before a joint session of Congress and outlined his vision for the future. Representatives from every human world and colony had gathered to hear about the new alliance humanity was building. Fellow humans, he began. 1 year ago, we made a difficult choice. We left the Galactic Council because we refused to be treated as second-class citizens. Some people said we were making a mistake. They said we would be destroyed without alien protection. He paused and looked around the chamber. I think we have proven them wrong. The representatives applauded. In 12 months, humanity had not only survived, but thrived. Human technology had advanced rapidly without council restrictions. Human colonies had grown without alien oversight. Human ships patrolled space routes that were safer than they had been in decades. But we did not leave the council just to be alone, Ryan continued. We left to build something better. Today, I am proud to announce the formation of the Human Commonwealth, a new alliance based on equality, mutual respect, and shared values. Dr. Alex Turner stepped forward with a presentation showing the structure of the new alliance. Unlike the old council where powerful species dominated weaker ones, the Commonwealth would give equal voice to all members regardless of their size or strength. The Commonwealth is open to any species that meets our standards, Dr. Turner explained. Democratic government, respect for individual rights, peaceful resolution of disputes, and a commitment to mutual defense. What about species that do not meet these standards? Asked a representative from the Alpha Centauri colony. President Clark answered, "They are welcome to apply when they are ready to meet our requirements. The Commonwealth is not about excluding people. It is about creating a community of species that share common values." Across the galaxy, the response to the Commonwealth announcement was immediate and dramatic. Within days, over 30 species had submitted applications for membership. These were mostly smaller species that had been pushed around by the councils. Powerful members, but the reactions were not all positive. Admiral Troy Washington received urgent reports from his intelligence teams. The Krill Empire, what was left of it, was forming an alliance with other aggressive species. They called themselves the Dominion, and their goal was simple: destroy the human Commonwealth before it could grow strong. "Sir, Krill Admiral Thaxamore is gathering a fleet," reported Colonel Ben Parker. "Intelligence suggests he has over 500 ships from a dozen different species." Troy studied the tactical displays. "That is a significant force. What is their target?" "Unknown, but they are massing near the border of Commonwealth space. We think they are planning a major attack." "Recommendations? We should strike first. Our technology is superior, but they have numbers. If we let them coordinate their attack, they could cause serious damage." Troy thought about this carefully. The Commonwealth was supposed to be different from the old council. It was supposed to solve problems peacefully when possible. But some problems could only be solved with force. "Colonel, prepare Battle Group 7 for deployment. But first, send a message to Admiral Thaxamore. Give him one chance to withdraw peacefully." The message was simple. "Admiral Thaxamore, you are massing military forces near Commonwealth territory. This is considered a hostile act. Withdraw your fleet immediately or face the consequences." Thaxamore's reply came quickly. "Humans, your time of dominance is over. The Dominion will not bow to your new council. We will fight, and we will win." Troy sighed. Some species never learned. The Battle of Proxima Gate lasted 6 hours. Admiral Thaxamore brought 500 ships to fight the 70 ships of Human Commonwealth Battle Group 7. It was not even close. Human ships with plasma weapons and quantum shields destroyed the Dominion fleet piece by piece. New human fighter. Craft moved so fast that alien gunners could not track them. Human tactics, developed through decades of fighting pirates and raiders, proved far superior to anything the aliens could manage. When it was over, 400 Dominion ships were destroyed or disabled. The remaining ships scattered in all directions. Admiral Thaxamore's flagship was captured intact. The proud Krill warrior was brought before Admiral Martinez as a prisoner. "Your Commonwealth will not last," he snarled through his sharp teeth. "Other species will challenge you. You cannot fight everyone." Lisa looked at the defeated alien with pity rather than anger. "Admiral, we do not want to fight everyone. We want to work with species that are willing to live in peace. As for those who insist on war," she gestured at the wreckage visible through the window. "Well, you can see how that works out." News of the battle spread quickly through the galaxy. Species that had been considering joining the Dominion suddenly changed their minds. Applications to join the Commonwealth increased dramatically. 6 months later, Ambassador Jake Sullivan stood in the new Commonwealth Assembly on Luna Station and watched representatives from 47 different species take their seats. It was smaller than the old council, but it was also better. Here, no species was considered junior or senior. Votes were based on population and contribution, not ancient privilege. Disputes were resolved through negotiation and compromise, not threats and intimidation. Dr. Amy Foster, now the Commonwealth's Director of Cultural Affairs, presented the annual report on galactic conditions. The galaxy is still recovering from the chaos of the past year, she began. But there are signs of hope. Trade is increasing among Commonwealth members. Border conflicts have decreased by 80%. Refugee resettlement programs have helped millions of displaced beings find new homes. She pointed to a star map showing the Commonwealth's territory. We now include 47 species across 112 star systems. More importantly, we have shown that the Great Hall on Kepler Prime, stretched out like a metal canyon. 12 alien species sat in their high seats, looking down at the small human table below. Ambassador Claire Morgan sat straight in her chair, her hands flat on the cold surface. Next to her, Dr. Nathan Burke checked his notes one more time. 3 years of talks. 3 years of being treated like children. The Zephyrian High Magistrate floated above his seat, his body made of pure energy crackling with blue light. His voice boomed across the hall. The humans speak of rights they have not earned. They demand respect they do not deserve. Claire kept her face calm, but her jaw was tight. She had heard this same speech dozens of times. The aliens always talked about earning and deserving, as if being human was somehow wrong. The Nexari representative clicked and hummed, its crystal body catching the light. When it spoke, the words came out cold and sharp. Humans use crude machines instead of proper bio-neural systems. Their ships are loud and wasteful. They pollute space with their primitive technology. Dr. Burke wrote something on his pad and slid it to Claire. The note said, "Same arguments, different day." Claire almost smiled, but stopped herself. Nothing was funny about this anymore. The colic speaker was different from the others. It looked like a regular humanoid, but Claire knew it was connected to millions of other colics across the galaxy. When it talked, it spoke for all of them at once. The hive mind has decided. Humans are too individual, too chaotic. They cannot be trusted with large territories. Claire stood up slowly. May I respond to these accusations? The High Magistrate's energy form flickered with what might have been amusement. You may speak, human. We will listen as we always do. Claire looked around the hall. 43 human colonies, families building new lives on distant worlds, children born under alien stars. All of it would be lost if the Council got its way. 3 years ago, we came here seeking partnership, Claire began. We offered to share our discoveries, our culture, our friendship. We asked only for the same respect you give each other. The crystal being made a sound like breaking glass. Respect is earned through evolution, through time, through proving worthiness. Humans have existed in space for mere decades. And in those decades, Claire continued, we have explored more systems than most of your species visit in centuries. We have made contact with races you ignored. We have solved problems you said were impossible. Dr. Burke nodded as he remembered the Titan mining solution, the Proxima medical breakthrough, the peaceful first contact with the Valdris when everyone else said it could not be done. The floating Zephyrian pulsed brighter. Luck. Random chance. Humans stumble through space like drunk children and call it exploration. Claire felt something cold settle in her stomach. Our colonies house over 2 billion human souls. These are not numbers on a chart. These are families, communities, entire worlds of people building something new. Which brings us to today's vote, the High Magistrate said. The Council has decided that human expansion must be limited. 3 systems, no more. All other colonies must be abandoned within 60 standard days. The words hit like a physical blow. Claire heard Dr. Burke's sharp intake of breath beside her. 3 systems. They wanted to squeeze humanity into 3 tiny corners of space. The vote is 11-0 with 1 abstention, the Kolek announced. The Valdris choose not to participate in this decision. Claire looked at the Valdris representative, a tall, thin being with large eyes full of what looked like sadness. At least someone felt bad about this. "You cannot be serious," Dr. Burke said, half rising from his chair. 2 billion people. You want them to just pack up and leave homes they have built over decades? The Nexari's crystal body rang like a bell. They should not have built those homes without permission. This is the consequence of human arrogance. Claire felt the last piece of hope break inside her chest. She looked at each alien face around the hall. Some showed nothing. Others showed what might have been satisfaction. None showed any care for human lives. "We reject this decision," Claire said quietly. The High Magistrate's energy form stopped moving. "You reject the will of the Galactic Council?" "I reject the idea that might makes right. I reject the idea that age grants wisdom. I reject the idea that humans are somehow less worthy of freedom than anyone else in this galaxy." She reached into her jacket and pulled out her diplomatic credentials. The small metal badge caught the light as she held it up. For 3 years, this badge had been her identity, her purpose, her hope for peace. Claire placed the badge on the table with a soft click that seemed to echo through the silent hall. The United Earth Federation formally withdraws from all peace. Negotiations. We came here seeking partnership and found only prejudice. We offered friendship and received only demands. We showed respect and got only contempt in return. Dr. Burke stared at her, his eyes wide. Around the hall, the alien representatives leaned forward in their seats. "Humanity will chart its own course among the stars," Claire continued. "We will defend our colonies, protect our people, and build our future without your permission or approval." The Zephyrian's energy form flared bright red. "You threaten the Council? I am ending humanity's participation in this farce you call justice. We will have no more talks. We will accept no more ultimatums. We will make no more compromises with beings who see us as insects to be stepped on." Claire turned toward the exit, Dr. Burke scrambling to follow her. Behind them, voices rose in anger and surprise. The Kolek spoke in their strange, unified tone. The Nexari rang like broken crystal. The Zephyrian crackled with energy. But Claire did not look back. She walked out of the hall and into the corridor beyond, her footsteps steady and sure. Dr. Burke caught up with her, his face pale. "Claire, what have we just done?" She stopped walking and turned to face him. For the first time in 3 years, she felt free. "We just told the galaxy that humans will not bow to tyrants. We told them that we would rather stand alone with our dignity than kneel together in shame." Through the tall windows, she could see the stars. Somewhere out there were the human colonies, the families, the children who deserved better than this council's version of peace. "They will come for us," Dr. Burke said softly. Claire nodded. "Yes, they will. And when they do, they will discover what humans can accomplish when we stop trying to please our masters and start fighting for our freedom." The stars seemed brighter somehow, full of possibility and danger in equal measure. Humanity had just chosen its path, and there would be no turning back. The emergency session in the White House Situation Room felt different from any meeting President Lisa Carter had ever attended. The news from Kepler Prime had reached Earth 6 hours ago, and now the most powerful people in human space sat around a table trying to figure out what came next. Admiral Jack Harrison spread the tactical displays across the main screen. Red dots showed Council fleet positions. Blue dots marked human colonies. The picture was not good. "We are outnumbered 15-1 in ships," Harrison said. Their technology is more advanced. Their weapons hit harder. Their shields are stronger. In a straight fight, we lose. President Carter studied the display. What about our advantages? Speed and surprise, maybe. Human ships can change course faster than most alien designs. We also have something they do not expect. Dr. Rachel Kim stood up from her seat at the far end of the table. She had been quiet since arriving from the diplomatic mission, still processing what she had learned during 3 years of studying the Council species. "I need to share something that changes everything," she said. "During our time on Kepler Prime, I was not just observing their politics. I was studying their biology, their psychology, their technology. I found weaknesses." The room went silent. General Pete Morrison leaned forward. "What kind of weaknesses?" Rachel activated her personal display, showing anatomical charts and energy readings. "The Zephyrians are pure energy beings. They look powerful, but they are actually very fragile. Hit them with the right electromagnetic frequency, and they collapse like a house of cards." She switched to another image. "The Kalex share a quantum communication network across their entire species. Break that network, and they cannot think or act together. They become helpless." "And the Nexari?" Carter asked. "Crystal-based biology with bio-neural technology. They grow their ships instead of building them. But grown things can get sick. I know exactly what frequencies will cause their neural networks to shut down." Admiral Harrison stared at the data. "You are saying we can fight them? I am saying we can beat them. But only if we stop thinking like diplomats and start thinking like humans." Across the solar system, Captain Steve Johnson received his new orders aboard the exploration vessel UES Discovery. His crew gathered on the bridge as he read the message aloud. "All human vessels are ordered to return to human space immediately. No further contact with Council species. Protocol 7 is now in effect." Chief Engineer Amy Rodriguez looked up from her console. "Protocol 7? I thought that was just a theory." Science Officer Chris Peterson pulled up the classified files. They had been carrying for 2 years. "Complete technological isolation and rapid military advancement. We use everything we learned about alien tech and combine it with human engineering." Captain Johnson studied the specifications. "They want us to rebuild the Discovery as a stealth ship. New engines, new weapons, new everything." "Can we do it?" Rodriguez asked. Peterson was already running calculations. "We have alien components from 12 different species. We have 3 years of technical data. We have human creativity. Yes, we can do it. The question is how fast." "Fast enough," Johnson said, "because if we cannot make this work, humanity is finished." Back on Earth, Dr. Kim led President Carter through the hidden levels of the Colorado Research Facility. The elevators went down further than most people knew existed. "We have been preparing for this day since the first diplomatic mission," Kim explained. "Every time we met with the Council, we brought back samples, technology fragments, cultural data, biological specimens. The elevator doors opened to reveal a laboratory that looked like something from a science fiction movie. Human scientists worked alongside reverse-engineered alien equipment, creating hybrid technologies that had never existed before. "Dr. Walsh," Kim called to a man studying holographic ship designs, "show the President what we have been building." Tony Walsh activated the main display, showing a massive ship design unlike anything in human or alien fleets. "We call it the Defiance-class Dreadnought. It uses Nexari bio-neural processing, Zephyrian energy weapons, and Kalek quantum communications, all controlled by human artificial intelligence." Carter stared at the design. "How long to build it?" "The first one is already under construction in the Titan shipyard. 6 months to completion." "And the smaller ships?" Chief Designer Rodriguez had joined them from the Discovery Project. "We can convert existing human vessels in 2 months. The new Ranger-class frigates will be invisible to Council sensors and faster than anything they have." Dr. Kim activated another display showing psychological profiles. "But our real advantage is not technological. It is strategic. The Council. Species are predictable. They follow patterns. They cannot adapt quickly to new situations. She pointed to a Zephyrian battle record. They always attack head-on, because they believe direct confrontation shows honor. The Nexari always use the same tactical formations because their bio-neural networks optimize for efficiency. The Collects cannot handle random actions because their hive mind needs order. Humans are different, Carter said, understanding. Humans are chaos, Kim smiled. We improvise. We adapt. We do things that make no logical sense and somehow make them work. That terrifies them, even if they do not admit it. Meanwhile, Ambassador Morgan was having a secret meeting in a coffee shop on Luna Station. Across from her sat Valdris Ambassador Keth Mirren, the tall alien who had abstained from the council vote. Your species made the right choice, Keth Mirren said in his soft, musical voice. The council has forgotten that strength comes from unity, not domination. Will the Valdris support us? Morgan asked. Officially, no. We cannot risk council retaliation. But, unofficially, he slid a data pad across the table. These are the coordinates of 17 non-council species who are watching your situation with great interest. They have been oppressed by the council for decades. Morgan read the list. Mining worlds forced to give up their resources. Agricultural planets taxed into poverty. Independent traders banned from most of galactic space. They would join a rebellion. They would join an alternative. Something better than what the council offers. Back on the Discovery, the transformation was beginning. Amy Rodriguez had torn out half the ship's systems and was installing new ones based on hybrid human-alien technology. The work was dangerous and experimental. Captain, she called from inside a maintenance shaft, the new stealth field is online. We just became invisible to every sensor in the galaxy. Chris Peterson was working on the weapons systems. Electromagnetic pulse cannons are ready. These will shut down Zephyrian energy forms completely. Captain Johnson tested the new controls. Navigation feels different. Faster response time. That is the quantum processing unit from Collect Technology, Peterson explained. But instead of connecting to a hive mind, it connects to our ship's AI. We can think and react faster than any alien crew. The next few months passed in a blur of construction and preparation. Human colonies that had been preparing to evacuate instead began building defenses. Mining stations became weapons factories. Peaceful exploration vessels became warships. Admiral Harrison stood in the bridge of the new UES Defiance as it took its first test flight. The ship was beautiful and terrifying, combining the best of human and alien engineering with something neither had possessed alone. All systems green, reported the navigation officer. Stealth field active. Weapons charged. Ready for anything? Harrison looked out at the stars where council fleets waited to enforce their ultimatum. In a few weeks, they would come to claim human worlds and force millions of people from their homes. They expected to find weak humans begging for mercy. Instead, they would discover what happened when humanity stopped trying to fit in and started fighting back. Dr. Kim joined him on the bridge, carrying final intelligence reports. The council is arguing among themselves about how to handle us. Some want immediate military action. Others prefer economic sanctions. They cannot agree on anything. Good, Harrison said. Let them argue. Every day they waste gives us more time to prepare. Through the viewports, construction lights twinkled around the Titan shipyard where dozens of new ships were taking shape. Each one carried human ingenuity combined with alien technology, creating something the galaxy had never seen before. Tatitaba. Council had made one critical mistake. They had assumed that being older and more advanced made them superior. They had never considered that being young and desperate might make humans more dangerous. Soon, they would learn the difference. 6 months had passed since humanity walked away from the Galactic Council, and the galaxy had become strangely quiet, Council surveillance drones approached human space regularly, but they always turned back at the border. No one crossed the line. Inside the council chambers on Kepler Prime, the mood was tense. The Nexari representative's crystal body hummed with frustration. The humans have been silent too long. We should investigate what they are doing. High Magistrate Kethvar's energy form flickered with impatience. They are probably building primitive defenses and hoping we will forget about them. Humans are known for their delusions. The Kolek speaker remained motionless, connected to the hive mind across the galaxy. The collective senses no unusual activity in human space. Their ships remain at normal positions. Their communications follow standard patterns. What the Council did not know was that every single piece of information they were receiving was false. Dr. Rachel Kim's intelligence operation had become a masterwork of deception. Deep in the asteroid belt, Captain Steve Johnson stood on the bridge of what looked like the UES Discovery. It had the same name and the same identification codes, but everything else had changed. The ship that had once been a simple exploration vessel was now something entirely different. "Stealth field test complete," reported Chief Engineer Amy Rodriguez. "We are completely invisible to Council sensors. They cannot see us, hear us, or track us." Science Officer Chris Peterson activated the new weapons systems. "Electromagnetic pulse cannons are ready. Quantum scramblers are online. Kinetic barriers are at full power." Johnson studied the tactical display. Around him, what appeared to be empty space actually contained dozens of human ships, all hidden by the new stealth technology. The Discovery was just one ship in a fleet that the Council did not even know existed. "Take us to the test coordinates," Johnson ordered. The Discovery moved through space without creating any detectable signature. No heat, no energy emissions, no gravitational disturbance. They had become ghosts. At the secret shipyard hidden in the shadow of Titan, Admiral Jack Harrison watched the final pieces being installed on the UES Defiance. The massive dreadnought stretched nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern, covered in armor that could adapt to different types of weapons. Chief Designer Tony Walsh pointed to the ship's main cannon. "This is something completely new. We call it an adaptive weapon system. It can fire electromagnetic pulses against Zephyrians, quantum scramblers against Koleks, or bio-neural disruptors against Nexari. All in the same weapon?" Harrison asked. "All in the same shot, if necessary. The targeting computer identifies the enemy and automatically selects the right frequency and power level." Dr. Kim arrived with the latest intelligence reports. "The Council is getting nervous. They have been trying to scan human space for 3 weeks, but our jammers are working perfectly. They think we are building simple defensive stations." "Let them think that," Harrison said. "How many ships do we have ready?" 47 Ranger-class frigates, 12 Defender-class cruisers, and the Defiance, all equipped with stealth systems and adaptive weapons. Walsh activated a holographic display showing ship movements throughout human space. "We have also been modifying civilian vessels. Every cargo ship, every passenger liner, every mining transport now carries hidden weapons and defensive systems." Kim smiled. "The Council thinks humans are predictable. They expect us to build static defenses and wait for them to attack. They have no idea we have become a completely mobile force." On the colony world of New Boston, Captain Sarah Lee was training her squadron in the new tactics. Her ship, the UES Ranger, had been one of the first conversions from the old exploration fleet. "Remember," she told her pilots over the comm system, "we are not trying to match their firepower. We are trying to confuse them. Hit and run. Appear where they do not expect us. Disappear before they can respond." Lieutenant Mike Torres activated his ship's quantum scrambler. "What if they adapt to our tactics?" "They cannot adapt," Lee replied. "Adaptation requires flexibility. The Council species are too rigid, too set in their ways. They will keep using the same strategies that worked for them for thousands of years." The squadron practiced attacks against holographic enemy ships. the simulated Zephyrian vessels always charged straight ahead, making them easy targets for electromagnetic weapons. The Nexari ships followed precise formation patterns that could be predicted and countered. The Colic vessels moved as coordinated groups, making them vulnerable to quantum scramblers that disrupted their communication. Dr. Kim had spent months studying each species' military history, and the patterns were always the same. They fought, the way they had always fought because their cultures could not imagine doing things differently. But humans were different. Human military history was full of unexpected tactics, surprise attacks, and strategies that broke every rule. From ancient Earth battles to space conflicts, humans had always found ways to win against superior forces. In the hidden research facility on Luna, Dr. Kim was perfecting the final piece of humanity's new strategy. Project Mirror was not about building better weapons. It was about understanding alien psychology so completely that human forces could predict every move the Council would make. Zephyrians value personal honor above tactical sense, she explained to a room full of military officers. They cannot retreat without losing face. If you challenge a Zephyrian commander directly, he will always accept the challenge, even if it means walking into a trap. She activated another display. Nexari optimize everything for efficiency. They use the most logical formation, the most efficient flight path, the most rational strategy. This makes them completely predictable. And the Colex? Asked Colonel Frank Wright. Hive mind psychology. They cannot handle chaos or randomness. If you do something that makes no logical sense, their collective consciousness becomes paralyzed, trying to understand your motivation. The officers studied the psychological profiles. Each alien species had strengths that could be turned into weaknesses with the right approach. Meanwhile, Ambassador Claire Morgan was having another secret meeting with Valdris representative Keth Mirren. This time they met in an abandoned space station on the edge of Council territory. The non-Council species are ready, Keth Mirren reported. 17 worlds have agreed to declare independence if humanity provides protection. Morgan studied the list. Mining colonies, agricultural worlds, and independent trading stations. All of them had been exploited by the Council for decades. What kind of protection do they need? The Council will send enforcement fleets to bring them back into line. Small forces, usually. They rely on fear and reputation rather than actual military power. And if humanity were to intercept those enforcement fleets? Keth Mirren's large eyes showed something that might have been hope. The entire power structure of the galaxy would change overnight. Back on Earth, President Lisa Carter was reviewing the final preparations. In 6 months, humanity had transformed from a diplomatic mission into a military force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Council expected humans to either surrender or fight a desperate defensive battle. They had no idea that humanity was preparing to go on the offensive. Status report, Carter requested. Admiral Harrison connected from the Defiance. All ships are ready. All crews are trained. All systems are tested, Dr. Kim reported from Luna. Intelligence networks are in place. We know the location and strength of every Council fleet. Captain Johnson called in from the Discovery. Stealth fleet is positioned and ready for reconnaissance missions, Captain Lee added from New Boston. Defense squadrons are prepared to protect the colonies. Carter looked at the strategic display showing human space. What had once been a small collection of vulnerable colonies was now a fortress protected by invisible guardians. The Council's ultimatum expires in 2 weeks, she said. They will come to enforce their will. Let them come, Harrison replied. They think they are dealing with the same humans who begged for acceptance 3 years ago. They have no idea what we have become. The preparations were complete. Humanity had spent 6 months building not just ships and weapons, but an entirely new way of thinking about warfare. They had studied their enemies, understood their weaknesses, and prepared counters for every possible strategy. Soon, the Council would discover that the galaxy's newest species had also become its most dangerous. The beings who had rejected humanity's Friendship were about to learn the price of making humans their enemies. In the silence of space around human colonies, invisible ships waited with weapons charged and crews ready. The Council was about to face something they had never encountered before, a species that refused to be conquered, refused to be intimidated, and refused to play by anyone else's rules. The galaxy was about to change forever, and humanity would be the one changing it.